Welcome back, ghouls and goblins. I hope you're having a magical day, and thank you all so much for taking the time to support the channel. Phyrexia All Will Be One is right around the corner, with the early access event taking place February 2nd and 3rd, just a few days away, then being released digitally on Arena February 7th. So we have a lot to cover, starting our series of top 10 videos for the set, going through the different rarities, common, uncommon, rare, and mythic, through our top 10 picks for each. In today's video, we'll start with the common cards. If you are a drafter, if you're a budget player, these are cards that are great to be aware of. And let's be honest, this set is looking very friendly for those budget and free-to-play individuals, with not only the commons we'll see in today's video, but also the uncommons that we'll take a look at tomorrow. So buckle up, get ready, make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel to help support. You can also become a YouTube member as well. Let's take a look at our top 10. First up, we have Charge of the Mites. Now, this is a 3-mana instant speed spell that has 2 modes. Choose one of them. Dealing damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or target planeswalker. This is very nice within an aggro deck, allowing you to take advantage of your field base if you need to, right? And then doubling down, or, the versatility of being both an offensive and defensive spell is what I really look for when I'm picking my top 10 cards. And we can also, at instant speed, create 2 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1. This creature can't block, and when it deals damage, it will apply the poison counter to your opponent, which is phenomenal. 2 bodies at instant speed, I think, is really nice. Kind of like Resolute Reinforcements, 2 bodies at instant speed for 2 mana. However, we gain the additional removal effect on Charge of the Mites, which I really, really like. Yeah, it's a beautiful card. Again, these are in no specific order, 1 through 10. They're just my top 10 picks in general. Moving on to Bring the Ending. 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 blue, instant speed, countering target spell unless its controller pays 2. It has corrupted, so we will counter target spell instead, regardless of what our opponent can pay, if they have 3 or more poison counters on them. Now, that corrupted mechanic will be the same, requiring your opponent to have 3 poison counters, right, to fulfill. Phenomenal. So, early on, you have a Make Disappear, minus Casualty 1, which did we really do a lot anyways? Not so much. But now, the corrupted, accumulating a few poison counters on your opponent through the Toxic mechanic, just a hard counter of creature, non-creature for 2 mana. That's phenomenal. Anoint with Affliction for 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 black or swamp at instant speed. Exile target creature if its mana value is 3 or less. Corrupted is on this card as well. Exile that creature instead if its controller has 3 or more poison counters. So getting around that mana value 3 or less. Early game, it's just removal on par, on curve, if you will. And then late game, you'll have accumulated the corrupted, hopefully. And this will act as some very, very nice removal for 2 mana at instant speed. Moving on, we have the Contagious Vorak. 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 green or forest. It's a creature, Phyrexian Boar Beast, which, you gotta love. A 3/3, and when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a land card from among them. Put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, Proliferate. Proliferate will allow you to accumulate an additional counter of each kind of counter that you do have, which is great. So this is going to, count for +1/+1 counters, as well as loyalty counters and, the newly incorporated poison counters as well to help push those out onto your opponent. The Crawling Chorus for 1 white or plains, a 1/1 creature Phyrexian Horror with Toxic 1, dealing damage, applying the poison counter. When Crawling Chorus dies, create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1. This creature cannot block. I believe that this is really nice value. For 1 mana, you're getting 2 bodies. Enough said. The Glistener Seer for 1 mana as well, a 0/3 creature Phyrexian Advisor. Entering the battlefield with 3 counters on it. This does cast for 1 blue or island as well. We can tap it to remove an oil counter, resulting in a scry 1. Scrying every turn is very, very good. It's going to keep things really consistent for you. Not to mention, we can easily proliferate to increase the amount of oil counters we have on this year, allowing us, even more activations of it as the game goes on. The Phyrexian Atlas for 3. This is a artifact generic colored 3 mana spell. We can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, and it has corrupted. Whenever the Atlas becomes tapped, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters will lose 1 life. That's pretty good. That's like a mana rock that you would expect, but now it's dealing damage. Pretty cool. Vanish into Eternity for 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 plains or white source at instant speed. This spell will cost 3 more to cast if it targets a creature, which would be for 6. Very expensive here. However, just prioritize your removal, and worst case scenario, it's still there. Exile target non-land permanent. So, the fact that this is a common permanent exile at instant speed is a big deal to me. I understand that it costs more if you target a creature, but control decks are running depopulate, farewell. They don't mind creatures. They're going to deal with them another way. There's other forms of very efficient creature removal, and Vanish into Eternity can exile a planeswalker. It can exile an enchantment. It can exile an artifact. Worst case scenario, for an additional 3 mana, you can exile a Phyrexian Obliterator, a Shieldred. And is it going to be that big of a deal at that point, paying for the extra mana? No, you're going to be happy to have it, right? So I like this card. Moving on. The Volt Charge for 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 red, instant speed, dealing 3 damage to any target, and you proliferate, which I think is phenomenal. It's a lightning strike for 3 damage, any target, with 1 additional mana to proliferate. It doesn't take up an extra card, right? Like if you just had another card in your deck, 1 mana proliferate, that would be inherently bad because it's taking up one of your 60 cards, and it's not actually enough value probably, where this is being just kind of bootlegged onto a card already, which is really, really nice, because you're not losing the value that your deck would have. It's just a little bit curved higher. I think it's a win-win. I would be running, this and Lightning Strike if I was a burn deck, right? And finally, certainly not least, though, like I said, no specific order, Vraska's Fall for 3, 2 generic, 1 swamp or black source. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and gets a poison counter. Hey, this is going to be really nice for, like I said, that Phyrexian Obliterator. Just get out of town, and, it's also going to help us build towards that corrupted fulfillment, the 3 poison counters on our opponent, which will really increase the value of a lot of our spells within the set, which is quite coolio, if you ask me. To recap, we have Vraska's Fall, Volt Charge, Vanish into Eternity, Phyrexian Atlas, Glistener Seer, Crawling Chorus, Contagious Vorak, Anoint with Affliction, Bring the Ending, and Charge of the Mites. If there were any common cards that you really liked that I didn't touch on today, don't hold back. Let us know in the comments below. What was your favorite common card of the set, and how are you looking forward to using it? Thank you all so much for watching. A reminder, this is the first part of a 4-part series. We're going to take a look at the uncommons, the rares, and the mythics still to come. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, become a YouTube member as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon in the next.